Security Council from the CIA and has returned there. So my guess is that people here in the White House probably have a pretty strong idea, but there's a real question of whether that person will face any sort of reprisal or consequences for it if he's able to continue to shield his identity from the public, if that's how he desires to do so. And there's this question of, Democratic lawmakers have said they want to talk to the whistleblower. If those lawmakers can be trusted to keep his identity private, I think all of these kind of are an interesting secondary conversation, in addition to the sort of concerns that were raised in that whistleblower complaint.
Not just a secondary conversation, but let's now go to a tertiary conversation, because this was kind of a rambling speech, was it not? He referred to the size of Adam Schiff's neck, and then he referred to himself as being the most presidential president we've ever had, except maybe for Lincoln. Can you sort of help us call this apart and figure out where he was going with this?
Yeah, I think the big takeaway for us, I see the president talk every day, and often he will adopt sort of a more rambling style and talk about all the things that are on his mind. But what was interesting to me was you could really get the sense of frustration that came out from the president. And that tells me that he's probably not thrilled with how this story has been playing out. The White House really felt like the release of this transcript was going to vindicate the president, and instead has only prompted more questions about his actions and behavior. And it also kind of underscores the central question at the heart of this, which is that President Trump is somebody who has sort of thrown off all the regular norms of a president, and that's how he got himself into this controversy in the first place, by suggesting Ukraine look into a political opponent of his. That's something that other presidents are unlikely to have done. And so, to some extent, this is going to become a referendum on the president's style and whether that attack on some of the normal norms that exist is going to be something that worries Democrats enough to pursue an impeachment vote.
All right, Justin Sink, Bloomberg News White House reporter. It is always a pleasure to talk to you, Justin, and I have a feeling we'll be talking to you again in the very near future, because the story is not quite over with yet. Thanks, Justin. And just ahead on Bloomberg Politics, Policy, Power, and Law, that impeachment process continues while Congress is out of town for the next couple of weeks. How do they take this back to their constituents? Let's get the latest world and national headlines with Bloomberg's Bob Moon.
Amy, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says Democrats don't have a time for wrapping up their House impeachment inquiry. The House will be starting a 2-week recess, but Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff says his committee will be working through that recess on matters related to the whistleblower complaint. While Democrats want to move quickly, Speaker Pelosi says there's no timetable for the impeachment proceedings.
They will do the work that they're set out to do, following the facts and the time that it takes to find the facts. As you know, you never know where we're going next. Now, I think we're getting involved in the cover-up of the cover-up, and that may be something that will take some time to investigate.
Some lawmakers wanted the recess canceled, but Pelosi decided against it. Also today, Pelosi voiced concern over President Trump's comments that suggested retaliation against people who helped the whistleblower. A British-flagged oil tanker held by Iran since July was released today and is heading toward the United Arab Emirates. The company that owns the vessel says the Iranian Marine Port Authority let the tanker go today. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is dismissing allegations that he was inciting violence by accusing his Brexit opponents of surrender and betrayal, saying the only way to calm the simmering tensions is to stop delaying and leave the European Union. During raucous, ill-tempered parliamentary debates this week, Johnson referred to an opposition law ordering a Brexit delay as a surrender act. He brushed off concerns that his forceful language might endanger legislators as humbug. Global news 24 hours a day, on air and at TikTok on Twitter. Powered by more than 2,700 journalists and analysts in more than 120 countries. I'm Bob Moon.
Tom Keene.
It's not that it's a dinosaur, but is there a future for these big banks?
And Jonathan Farrow.
Isn't that what's amazing about this? It's that the data's still good.
What if everyone had this much fun asking questions?
Do you have any outstanding questions today?
This is a huge, I get goosebumps over it.
Bloomberg Surveillance, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern.
How do you fund the build?
How reactionary is that group politically?
On Bloomberg Radio, the Bloomberg Business app, and BloombergRadio.com. Bloomberg, the world is listening.
If you love them enough to listen to them practice the same song on tuba,
please be done.
Over and over and over and over and over, then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Sounds good, honey.
Check today at NHTSA.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Are you interested in a challenging and exciting career? One where you can be part of solving complex challenges across industries and geographies? Bloomberg's ever-expanding technology, data, news, and media services foster innovation, empower clients, and offer nearly limitless opportunities for career growth. Visit Bloomberg.com/careers today to view our current job opportunities. Bloomberg LP is an equal opportunity employer. The address once again is Bloomberg.com/careers.
3, 2, 1. Oh no. Which button am I?
When every second counts, you can't wing it.
Guys, a little help up here?
In a home fire, you may have less than 2 minutes to get out. So make a family home fire escape plan. Then practice home fire drills at least twice a year so everyone knows what to do when they hear. Prepare your family at ready.gov/fire drill. Brought to you by FEMA, the Ad Council, and Make Safe Happen.
In-depth analysis, concise reporting, need-to-know global business news. Around the world and across the markets, Bloomberg connects the dots for decision makers. Stay on top of today's headlines. Follow big breakthroughs in tech. Understand the latest political issues. See how the world's wealthiest are spending their money. Track what's happening in the markets, and much more. Subscribe today to Bloomberg, the global standard for business reporting. Get it all at Bloomberg.com/subscriptions. Even hardcore do-it-yourself types appreciate having us curate our best moments for you in one show every day.
The company will expand its catalog more frequently over several months.
Otherwise, it's just too hard.
The DNC will officially announce who made the cut.
Bloomberg Best with June Grosso and Ed Baxter.
They discuss sanctions against Iran.
Weekday evenings at 5 Eastern on Bloomberg Radio, the Bloomberg Business app, and BloombergRadio.com. Bloomberg, the world is listening.
I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but Miss Araceli, she gave me direction.
At age 47, Marco finished his high school diploma.
50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
All money managers might seem the same, but while some give their clients cookie-cutter portfolios, Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to your goals and needs. Some only call when they have something to sell. Fisher calls regularly, so you stay informed. And while some advisors are happy to earn commissions whether you do well or not, Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when you do better. In other words, we're on your side. Maybe that's why most of our clients come from other money managers. So if you're in or nearing retirement, talk with us and find out why investors are switching to and staying with Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments. Clearly better money management. Investments in securities involve the risk of loss. Visit us at FisherInvestments.com to find out what we can do for you.
What if you could keep the top economic experts in a conference room next to your office without having to feed them?
Do we need better optics? Do we need some substance? Do CEOs care about ESG?
We have seen quite a lot of stimulus pumped into the system already.
It's the biggest warning yet about the financial risks of climate change.
Now there are more ways to hear us. Bloomberg Radio, the Bloomberg Business, Radio.com, and iHeartRadio apps, and at BloombergRadio.com. Bloomberg, the world is listening.
Asset managers who seize change to launch new strategies, add distribution channels, or exploit new technology to re-engineer the investor experience are often rewarded. However, in an industry paralyzed with complexity, few act with agility or decisively. Few run their business strategically. Yet, the most competitive managers in the market know with the right partner and a flexible operating platform, you can. Go boldly toward change with SEI Investment Manager Services.
I'm Steve Meyer, president of SEI's Investment Manager Services. At SEI, we understand the emerging forces that will define success for asset managers and what firms will need to compete tomorrow. That's why we continually optimize SEI's global operating platform. If your business requires greater agility, our advanced technology, integrated best-in-class systems, and multi-asset expertise can be your catalyst for business transformation.
With SEI Investment Manager Services, you lead the charge in a competitive marketplace. Learn more at SEIC.com/seize change.
Markets, headlines, and breaking news 24 hours a day at Bloomberg.com, the Bloomberg Business app, and at TikTok on Twitter. This is a Bloomberg Business Flash.
And I'm John Tucker in the Bloomberg Newsroom with this Bloomberg Business Flash. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ have turned lower. This comes after we reported the U.S. is considering limiting American portfolio flows into China. That escalates the trade war ahead of planned talks. The S&P 500 erasing a gain to trade lower right now, down 4 points. That's down about 0.1% at 2973. The NASDAQ 100, that is falling right now just about 0.4%. Trump administration officials are discussing ways to limit U.S. investors' portfolio flows into China. It's a move that would have repercussions for billions of dollars in investments pegged to major indices. The Dow Jones Industrial Average appearing earlier gains right now up about 13 points at 26,905. 10-year Treasury right now getting just a bit of a bid. The yield at 1.69%. We're up 1/32nd in the price right now. The yen, that is at 108 right now. That's actually down 0.2% against the greenback. We check the markets for you every 15 minutes during the trading day right here on Bloomberg Radio. I'm John Tucker. That is your Bloomberg Business Flash. We continue now with Bloomberg Politics, Policy, Power, and Law and Amy Morris.
All right. Thank you, John. And we are live from the Bloomberg Interactive Brokers Studio. President Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, coming under fire for his alleged role in the U.S. dealings with Ukraine. Now, Senator Kamala Harris says she's asking the State Department to look at Giuliani and how he's been using government resources.
We need to know if the personal lawyer of the president, Giuliani, was using government resources for political gain. And frankly, if there were any members of the State Department who were facilitating Rudy Giuliani's private conversations on behalf of the president, there should be accountability and consequence for that.
Okay, let's look at this and some more Capitol Hill reaction with Bloomberg News congressional reporter Stephen Dennis. He joins us now by phone from Capitol Hill. Stephen, thank you for taking the time.
It's great to be here.
So what about this? Is Giuliani next on the hot seat?
Yeah, absolutely. Giuliani's at the center of this whole thing because he's been pushing this issue of having Ukraine investigate the Bidens now for months. And that was the whole issue with this phone call where the president tells the Ukraine president, hey, I'm going to have Giuliani and the Attorney General Bill Barr give you a call and follow up on these investigations that I want you to do as a favor. And so Giuliani was meeting with Ukrainian officials before and after that phone call. He says that he was working with the State Department, which is sort of a no-no. If you're working as a personal attorney on the behalf of the president and working basically for his campaign, you're not really supposed to be mixing your campaign and your personal work with your official, with the U.S. government. That there's supposed to be a wall there.
So, okay. So do you anticipate or have you heard whether he might get called to Capitol Hill?
Yeah, I think it's almost a certainty that the House Intelligence Committee will at some point subpoena him to come and testify. And, there could be some fireworks over whether he actually wants to come and testify in public or in private, or how that's all going to work. And then, of course, the Senate Intelligence Committee also is investigating this whistleblower complaint. All their activity is going to be behind closed doors, but, we saw with the Russia investigation, a lot of people had to come up and testify, including Donald Trump Jr., Jared Kushner, and a lot of others. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Giuliani called behind closed doors in the next few weeks there as well.
And it would have to be in the next few weeks, because the lawmakers are going on break for a couple of weeks. How are they going to be able to take all of this back to their constituents, Democrats and Republicans?
I think it's going to be a real challenge. A lot of Senate Republicans have started to adopt this line that because they might be called upon to be jurors, they don't want to comment too much. That sort of insulates them, and they want to be insulated because they know this is not a good news story for them. Most Senate Republicans these days don't want to talk about this issue. In general, some of them have attacked the House for moving towards impeachment so soon. But on the other hand, very few of them are defending the president's conduct, and as well as the efforts to withhold information from Congress for the better part of a month, and so none of them want to be seen as being part of a cover-up. So now they have to go back home to their constituents, where they're going to take the temperature, take the pulse, and if public opinion continues to move as it started to in polls, that will determine a lot of what happens up here later on.
What are we hearing reaction to this from Republicans on Capitol Hill? I mean, there's some scuttlebutt that privately they are pretty unhappy about all of this, but that publicly they're putting on a brave face. What are you hearing?
Yeah, so very few Senate Republicans are offering actual criticism of the president. Other than Mitt Romney and Rob Portman had very mild criticism, saying he wished he hadn't brought up Joe Biden in that phone call with the Ukraine president, Pat Toomey, put out a statement a few days ago saying that it was an inappropriate thing to do, but not impeachable. And so there's yet to be a single Senate Republican to say this is impeachable. So the president's there's no path to removing him from office at this point. You'd have to have 20 Senate Republicans to join every Democrat. That doesn't appear to be in the cards. Instead, you see Mitch McConnell sort of trying to carve out a middle ground where he gets tries to insulate his flock politically from the fallout here without actually resulting in some actions against Trump.
We only have about a minute to go here, but I wanted to get your take on what the temperature is on Capitol Hill. Just how much of the business of the nation's capital is going to get done? They're going on a break. They're going through the impeachment proceedings. There's an election in a little more than a year. I mean, how much work's going to conceivably get done over the next few months? You got about a half minute here.
There's a big scrum over this. Lindsey Graham told the president that, because the president was talking about not doing anything, and then this is going to destroy everything. Lindsey Graham told him that's the wrong approach. He said you should act like Bill Clinton and do a lot of things with Congress. That's why Bill Clinton was popular during impeachment. You should do the same thing. So it's really in Trump's hands. He can cut a lot of deals with Democrats on drug prices and everything else. But if he decides to just go to total war, and he says he's at war, we'll see.
Yeah, that is what he said. Yeah, we're going to keep watching it with you. Thank you so much, Stephen. Stephen Dennis covering Congress for Bloomberg News. And now coming up on politics, policy, power, and law, the U.S. looking at ways to limit investor portfolio flows into China. We're going to gauge the potential impact. And really, we want to look at the timing of this as well. This is Bloomberg.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. U.S. stocks are mixed. The Dow is up 26 points, S&P 500 down 3, the tech-heavy NASDAQ dropping 31 points. Sued and settled in a matter of minutes. Drug maker Mylan is paying $30 million to settle a Securities and Exchange Commission lawsuit filed this morning concerning what the drug maker told investors about what it charged Medicaid for the EpiPen. Consumer spending on goods and services is 2/3 of the U.S. economy. And growth in our spending was at the slowest in 6 months in August. Commerce Department says spending was up just 0.1%. And in another sign of a cautious consumer, the University of Michigan's latest sentiment survey finds fewer of us expect wages and employment to improve in the year ahead. Donna Wilson, Bloomberg Radio.
You're fierce. You take care of business and don't hold back. Taking care of your health shouldn't be any different. You know when something's off. Don't ignore symptoms like fatigue, joint pain, and rashes. Listen to your body. It could be lupus. We're here to help you take control. Learn how at Be Fierce Take